Okay, so welcome everyone to our Study Abroad podcast series. So today we have Rujula from Bangalore, who is now in US, and will be knowing about her journey from Bangalore to US. So welcome Rujula to our Study Abroad series.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I honestly think this is a great experience. Like, this will be really helpful. I remember when I started applying, I would look up and be like, how did people have their experiences at the universities? So, yeah, this is pretty cool to be on the other side.
Sure, sure. So Rujula, so the very first thing we would like to know is when was the very first time you thought that you should go abroad for any study purpose or work purpose, etc.
Yeah. So for as long as I remember, I always wanted to do a master's degree, right? So I wish I could do it at undergrad, honestly. It would have given me a lot more experience, like a lot more understanding and learning. But yeah, I don't regret anything. It's great to have started masters abroad. Um, to be more specific, I started thinking about doing masters abroad when I was in my undergrad. So it was a recollection because my mom is in tech, and then she used to travel abroad to like as a part of her work. So that's when I learned a lot more about her experiences, and I was like, oh, even I want to have that. So yeah, that's how I started dreaming about this in the first place.
Okay, so when you started thinking about it, were you doing anything to build your profile, any internship, research work, or anything to build your resume, etc.?
Yeah, so when I started thinking about it, I was more focused on my academics, honestly, like in the sense like courseworks and like how to get through each semester with a good grade was my focus initially. And so during my undergrad, I tried to keep as many consistent grades as I could and worked on projects, spoke to professors, and worked closely with them, honestly. That's one of the main things that I focused on so that I could have that also on my resume when I apply for masters. Yeah.
Okay, sure. And what were the tests you took, like GRE, TOEFL, IELTS?
Yeah. So most of the US universities take TOEFL and GRE, but the time that I was applying, GRE had been waived off for some universities, but my university, it was recommended to send in. So I did send it in. Yeah.
And when you were applying for the study abroad things, did you consider how many countries did you consider and like how many colleges approximately, if you remember?
Yeah. So countries as such, I did not any apply for anything other than out of US. Not because it was only solely because I had already always dreamt about going to the US. So yeah, I had even though like other countries have exceptional education system, I had always thought about technology surrounding around like the US, and that was my focus area, and that's kind of what I wanted. And as far as like Oh, sorry. Can you repeat what you said? Uh,
Yeah, I mean, how many colleges, how many countries?
yeah.
So countries,
So
you said one. Number of colleges roughly?
yeah. Number of colleges were like I applied for approximately 10 universities, honestly. I wanted to I didn't know what the applications were going on, like how it process was going on at that point. They're not very transparent about it, right? So you don't know how a student gets picked into a university. So but the universities that I applied to ambitiously applied to every possible university that I had dreamt about. Yeah.
So these 10 universities were like, did you like separate them into like some ambitious, safe, and things, and
Yeah.
all were ambitious only?
Yeah, honestly, I did apply to some safe, I would say like two or three safe. But then I would think to myself, like, if I got into this university, would I want to go? Like, I would probably sit another year and apply. So I was thinking, yeah, why put in money when these are the universities that I always wanted to go? So and I'm looking forward to go to only them. So yeah, I kind of made my application process around that. Although it's suggested to split them up to keep it a little bit ambitious, safe, and yeah. Yeah.
And I see that you took like a 1 year of professional experience between your bachelor's and master's. So you were applying to all these colleges while you were working, or you applied before and you deferred the offer?
Okay. So I did not want to move abroad and have an experience where I'd have to sit at home and take classes. I wanted to make sure I had the whole experience. Like I wanted to go in person to classes. So I did not apply in the last year of my undergrad. I started applying when I was working with Cisco. So I had already done 6 months internship with them, and it was a great experience. And I knew I always wanted to do a master's, so I started applying immediately after my internship, like the second I graduated, because I think US applications, most of your deadlines are like the previous year, November, like the early deadlines, and the later deadlines, I think maximum goes up to Jan. So you have to have everything prepared, like your GRE, TOEFL, all of your scores prepared way early, like let's say a year before. In August is the maximum that you can wait up until. And you have to have your letter of recommendations, SOP, everything prepped. Like you have to iterate through it and everything ready by the time like it's October almost, so that you can start applying, because you need to give more time to the recommenders so that they can also fill in the application fast as they can. So yeah, so basically while I was working, I was also applying uh, constantly. Yeah, it was a
So
process.
the letter of recommendation, you probably need three of them. How did you find these three people?
Yeah, so letter of recommendations is usually three in number. So since I applied to research oriented universities, it was more useful for me to have professors as my recommenders. So when basically I also had a professional person that I could like, who I worked with in the industry, to recommend me. But the thing is that also I did not, like, since I was working for a year, I did not want to cause any hassle at my workplace. I did take recommendations from my university, and I had three professors who vouched for me. Yeah.
Was it hard to get these three people, or it was like easy, or it was like a mediocre effort?
Yeah. No, I think, like I said, I did projects with them closely. Since I had worked with them, they were happy to recommend me. I think the problem was, oh, please, can you fill in 10 of my applications? That's so many applications and a lot of work for them, right? So, yeah, that's why I had to keep. So, you fill up your application, you don't have to submit it, but send, like, even if you have not started filling it up, open up the application and send the recommender the request beforehand, so that they have the time, like you give them like a month's time to actually fill up all of them, because it's a lot of work to sit down and fill 10 applications. Yeah. So yeah.
Did any of your professors said that I'll only do three recommendation, don't ask me for more?
Thankfully, no, they were very nice and they helped me out so much. Yeah, they did all of my 10 applications and put up with anything. Yeah, great.
So was that the reason you only applied to 10? Otherwise, you would have applied to 20.
That, and like I think how expensive it is per application. So yeah. And you have to also pay to send in your GRE scores, TOEFL scores, so all of these added expenses. So yeah. Yeah.
Some of the application fee were waived also, probably. So was it that the case for you, or you had to pay for almost
Um,
all application?
I think I had to pay for almost all of my applications. I didn't have any of my universities that I applied to did not have a waiver as such. Yeah.
So there is already a bit of a initial investment needed anyways. Like there is this
Yeah.
GRE, TOEFL, sending scores, uh,
Yeah.
an
It's
application fee.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Applying abroad is a process. Yeah.
is and so that will also prevent people from not applying to lot of colleges because there is will be
Yeah,
always be some budget constraint at some point.
correct. So you have to narrow down and like pick your universities and then apply.
So
Yeah.
after you applied to these 10 colleges, 10 universities, you would have got offer from some of them.
Mhm.
How did you pick the best offer? Like what was the criteria to pick your best offer?
Yeah. So when I was applying, I had already ranked them down. Like what uh like levels of ranking I had. So based on that, like whichever higher ranking that I got a university like acceptance offer from, I would pick that based on what acceptance I have. So it was yeah, like the whole process of waiting for your acceptance, rejection, it's a whole thing. I think there was one website where everybody posts, every person in the world just posts saying, oh yeah, I started getting, like, I got acceptance from here, I got a rejection from here. So that's how, the universities are rolling out these, so you get aware of this. And then yeah, it's a whole stressful thing. You keep looking up that website every morning and every evening to see, okay, is the university that I applied to, did they start rolling out decisions? Yeah.
It's like a placement season, right? Like okay, this person got the job, that person got the job, I didn't get the job.
Yeah, yeah, that that part was not very pretty. It was, yeah,
Sure, sure.
exhausting.
And once you decided that you'll go to UT Austin and probably you had to do your visa, flight, and
Hmm.
accommodation, which of the three gave you the most headache?
Oh my God. The visa process is, oh, you think acceptance is enough? Then it's not. Like after that, you have a whole visa process. The visa process started off from my acceptance time. You apply for an I-20. I think the university takes around maximum up to 2 weeks and they'll send you an I-20. This is like your most important letter to leave the country or come back to the country. So you get this letter and then you can start applying to your visa. Like you have the S-160 form and like you have a lot of forms to fill up. And once you fill them up, it's not over. Like you have to wait for the US visa slots to open up, which for me, I got my acceptance in March. Then I was done, like I done filling out everything by April. And then in May, the slots opened up. And when these slots opened up, you have to wait and you have to see like what is the particular time you need, which is the consulate you want to go to, and it's a whole headache. And once you get that, I got my appointment luckily in June, and then I went and I had the interview and the biometrics, and I got my visa back in like 10 days ish after the interview. And then before that itself, I had like paid for flights, and I was hoping my visa will get accepted because flights get really expensive as you approach closer to the date, right? So yeah, international flights are extremely expensive. So I paid beforehand itself, and I did not make it flexible with great hopes that my visa will get accepted. So yeah,
So you were quite
luckily,
optimistic there.
yeah, I
What
was.
about accommodation?
Oh yeah, accommodation. So I had already signed like, so when you get your acceptance, you will, when you look around the internet, you will find WhatsApp groups where people join in and like you already kind of meet other people who are also going to the same universities. And luckily for me, I met a lot like my roommate and my other friends who were living in the same apartment with me. Um, on these WhatsApp groups, we spoke a bit. We actually met in Bangalore beforehand, which was very helpful to know like who I'll be staying with, who is like around me and stuff like that. So I met all of these people and we together looked up houses. Looking for houses was a little bit of hard work because like, you know, you're all the way there and you're looking for houses here. You stay up like all night looking for like talking to realtors and asking them about the places. So we did find a place and we signed the lease beforehand because when you enter the country, you need to show some address proof, and you have to show like your lease agreement or something like that. So because of that, we had signed the lease. So the day that I landed, luckily I had the lease had started. So I went directly to my new house, although I didn't have any furniture. Yeah. So yeah, that was it.
And that was not like a furnished apartment, unfurnished
It
you
was
got.
yeah, yeah. We got an unfurnished apartment, which was I don't know in hindsight, maybe not the smartest decision, but because here in the US, when you buy furniture, this is not something we do in India, but you build your own furniture. They give you all parts of it and you sit and build it. And for days, I'm building my furniture. And yeah, it was a whole experience. But luckily for me, I had my relatives here who helped me, who picked me up from the airport and dropped me to this place. And they also took me to like Walmart and we got this air mattress for like 2 3 days and then I sat at home and ordered like all the new furniture that I wanted and built them for a couple of days. Yeah. So that's how it was.
Okay, okay, that was good. And the flight, the flight journey, was that your first international flight, or you took international flight before also?
Oh, that was my first international flight ever. So that was kind of scary, but like I said, I met a couple of people beforehand. So we traveled together. So it was very comforting because it was my first international flight ever. My parents were also like kind of worried. But yeah, it was great. We went, you don't have a, like, we didn't take a direct flight to Austin, Texas, because we don't have one from India to here. I took British Airways, went to London, and then London to Austin. This I did particularly only because I wanted port of entry to be Austin. I don't think it's a necessity, honestly, because I've seen all others have gone through, like they go to Dallas and then come to Austin, and it's fine to have immigration done in other cities. But I don't know, it was like some people had trouble. So even you don't want to give it a chance, right? Like, so yeah, I made my port of entry, made sure my port of entry was Austin.
Yeah, and like you had group of friends also, so you were making like a collective decision, so that might be
Yeah.
driven by the, the majority maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was good calls we took together.
And when
Yeah.
you landed in Austin, you had some relatives who picked you up from the airport. So did they pick your friends also along with, or they went
My
by their own?
friends had other friends also. So like there were a lot of people helping us out, which was so nice of them. They didn't have to do that at all. So they went out of their way to help you. And it was great because of their help only like we could set up our apartment, we could set up everything that we wanted to do. Yeah. Yeah, they also had people.
And once you came to your apartment, so apart from this furniture thing, do it by yourself. You had to probably do a bit more things by yourself, like cooking, cleaning, washing on a regular basis. So were you
Yeah.
used to some of them back home, or it was all new experience for you, cultural shocks kind of?
Yeah, no, honestly, I have lived in Bangalore my whole life. So I was a day scholar in my undergrad and I had extreme amount of privilege because my parents were very like they pampered me a lot. So I knew it was coming, but I was not very well prepared. My mom kept saying, you know what, learn how to cook, learn how to clean the vessels, like, do it. And then I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then it was time to do it because I was in the US. And then when I started out, it was a little hard because it's not just studying, right? You have to do all of this. Like it's a whole thing. Like you have to live, take care of yourself, wash your vessels, cook, wash your clothes, everything, and at the same time study. So I was obviously very new. It took me a lot of time to adapt, but thanks to technology, I used a lot of YouTube to cook all of my food and I was able to get through. Yeah, I'm still doing the same. So yeah, much better now though. Yeah.
And your this admit offer, did that contain any scholarship, RATA kind of activity along with, or you found that after coming here?
Yeah. So U- UT Austin specifically has it's a great program. They have multiple opportunities for TA and RA. It's not guaranteed, but they have a lot of opportunities if you can find the right set of people, that right work that you want to do, right? So when I came in, I wasn't very much aware of this, which was actually ignorance on my part. But I learned that a lot of students apply for this TARA. I did apply, but I wasn't aware that, oh, you can apply to other departments and do a lot more, right? So it's not just your department. You don't have to like be more specific like that. You can apply to data science if you're doing tech. There's tech used in almost every department. You can figure out RAs, TAs, and other positions as well. So when I learned that, I did not have funding for my first semester, but rest of the 3 semesters I did have funding. So the funding was extremely helpful because they don't just fund you, they also give you a stipend. So essentially, you'd be doing your whole semester for free. So yeah,
So you ended up like standing on your feet from the second semester
yeah,
almost.
yeah. From second semester up until now, yeah.
It's good, good, good. So you saved a lot of money that way, your parents' money.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of money. So yeah, honestly, I was glad that it was Austin, Texas. So like it's not as pricey as let's say like other big cities. So that way also it was very helpful. And the university is very generous with their stipend there. And also like you have a lot of opportunities if you look around. It's that kind of situation. Yeah.
Sure, sure. So it's good to know. It's good to know that UT Austin has so many opportunities. So even if somebody doesn't secure anything beforehand, there is a
Yeah.
lot of hope once they land there. So it's good.
Yeah.
And when you joined your college, the first few weeks, first few months, what were your educational cultural shock kind of, let's say, compared to your previous college or back in your school, etc., the way they teach and the way it was taught here, plus the environment, etc., what was the education like?
Yeah. So from education point of view, it was very different in the sense they encourage talking to others, they encourage like a lot of hands-on learning. This is something that I hadn't experienced much in my previous exposure to the Indian education system. So it was a lot more of like, okay, we will teach you this, but at the end of the day, your project should be application of this. Like, let's get that rolling, right? Let's be able to visualize it. So when it comes to that, like it's very helpful. And also I liked how everybody was expressing how passionate they were about the subjects, right? So everybody around would talk about everything that they have studied or they want to study very, very like explicitly. It was really nice. And that's when like it drove me to like subjects more deeply, right? Masters itself is hard. um like when you pick the you have full freedom to pick the subjects that you want to pick, which is great. But at the same time, you could pick the wrong set of subjects and have like nothing that you have learned in masters, and you could pick the great set of subjects and have full like usage of your masters, right? So I did have a couple of great people around me, and I was surrounded by amazing people who would like guide me. Honestly, I think that's how I got through my first semester was quite hard. I felt like I did not have the prerequisites for the subject. It was new to adapt, and so catching on was like much harder. People would do an assignment in like if it's a 2 weeks assignment, they would do it in like 3-4 days. I would take the whole of 2 weeks to do it. So yeah, but like learning from people was very helpful, and learning from people and doing work in groups was what like got me through the first semester, and then I caught on. So yeah, it was a big difference in what I had studied, like how I had studied before. Yeah.
So I see that you have also done this summer internship. So how did you find that summer internship and when did you start hunting for it?
Yeah, so everybody says the second you land into the US, the day you're here, start looking for an internship. So because that's how hard it is, and since the market is not doing very well, it was honestly very hard. So I started looking around in my first semester itself. With I did not have much luck, but I started attending these networking events at my universities. The university had like multiple networking event, not just the computer science department. You can go to like the EC department, you can go to like media department, you can find people, right? Even if you're not, just talk to people and like at least improve your soft skills. That way when you like want to seek out someone like and ask them for an opportunity, you'll be much prepared, right? So this I did the whole of my second semester. Like every week, at least once or twice, I'm in a networking event and I was talking to people. And that time I met my former internship company, which was Fujitsu Networks, and I met the HR. I met like a software engineer there, and we spoke. And then they said they liked my profile, and I was like, "Wow, I'm looking forward to work." Like I learned a lot more about the company and its values, and yeah, so that's how I applied there, and that's how I landed a job. First, I landed an interview, but yeah, that eventually landed in an internship.
So that was a office internship or a remote internship?
It was in Dallas, Texas. So yeah, I had to go in person in June, July, August. Yeah.
So you had an experience of 1 year working in a company and then you worked in like as an intern in US. What differences did you see in the work culture as such?
Yeah. Okay, to be fair, when I worked that 1 year with Cisco, I did not have in-person experience. So it was completely remote because of COVID. But it's different in the sense you're working with, like, you're not working with people from the same cultural background. So you have to adapt and learn, right? You can't just like, they have different work ethics, and it's, I think, compared to remote and in person, the work ethics is completely already different. So it was a whole experience, and I had a lot of fun, and I have no complaints. It was harder to adapt, but I learned it. I think everyone will, like, it's on the fly. That's the only way you can do it, I think. Yeah.
So calling the boss by his name or her name, was that easy for you or it was okay, okay?
I do know, so I, you know how we call, sometimes we call sir, ma'am, and then you have this habit of doing that. And they're like, no, 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 please don't call me sir, please don't call me ma'am. And then yeah, like that adaptation as to like, oh, they're your peer, you don't have to see them as unequal. That's something that's pretty cool. Like I've never experienced that. Like, you can see that, oh wow, you can reach out to anybody, and it's like very helpful situation. And since it was in person, I could literally go walk up to their desk and be like, hey, can I have like a moment, and can you help me out with this, which was pretty cool because I don't know how people have worked in offices before, so it was very awesome. Yeah.
And this another difference that we have in US versus India is there is no placement cell in the college. Did you miss it?
Yeah. That was, yeah, that's truly something I think our undergrad college has spoiled us with. Looking for a job where everybody is an applicant, the whole of the world is, yeah, it's tiring. I'm not going to lie. The number of applications, internships, jobs that I've applied to are so many. And thanks to these tools that we have, like Simplify and everything, that helps you like apply your job faster and better. But while you're studying and you're applying for jobs, it's so exhausting, and easily like 200 applications. And it's everybody. It's not, you'd think, oh, was I having a hard time? No, it was everybody around me having this hard time, which was, yeah, I think the only way to get through it is have supportive people around you. And yeah, the market was, yeah, it's still not the greatest. Yeah.
Accepting rejection is part of life.
Yeah, I truly agree. It's hard. Like you'll apply for 200 applications, you'll have like 4 or 5 callbacks. It's the number ratio is, yeah, it's pretty sad.
It's like
Yeah,
IIT
but
JEE exam.
yeah. Yeah, but I think for me specifically, having this 1 year with Cisco helped me a lot. So I think what stood out in my application, even with my internship company, was that I had this 1 year work X, right? So they were like, oh, okay, we kind of do that. You could come in. And I think here, when you're here, there are so many people who are in masters who have 2, 3 years of experience, and you're competing against them when you're applying for a job, which will basically give them an edge, right? So having experience does wonders for you. Yeah.
Sure, sure, sure. And after your graduation, also, I think now you are doing a job, full-time job. So how was this job hunting, and maybe how was this different from your internship hunting?
Yeah, this was way more things at risk. So it was way more stressful. Yeah, I think I did like I went to a conference last year called GHC conference. And I did go meet a lot of companies, interviewed with a lot of companies. The conference itself wasn't the best experience because it was too crowded and everybody was there like looking for a job. And I was like, oh my God, this is the reality of what's happening. Like you can see it in person. Yeah. So it was quite uh quite a big scare. And then I came back and then I was like, okay, I'm going to stick to my networking events, and then cold mailing, and every time a job opens, find a referral. Like referral had at this point has become like a basic necessity. It's not like, oh wow, it's going to make you stand out, right? So all of this I was doing. And then I luckily managed to reach out to somebody who was working at my current company and was able to refer me. And I think this referral helped me because when the HR met me, she was like, oh, yeah, like, oh, we got a referral and your profile matches. I think they looked at my resume only because I had a referral. I honestly don't know if it's true, but I think I believe that. But yeah, yeah, I think that's how I landed this job. And I
And
had my interview in
LinkedIn,
Jan.
LinkedIn help you a bit there in the referral thing?
Yeah. Yeah, LinkedIn helped me quite a bit. And every time somebody has hiring, like I would drop them a message and resume and be like, hey, can you please refer me for this job? Like, what do you think about my profile? Do you have any feedback? So yeah, I was a lot of that. And it's true for all, I can speak for all of my friends as well. It's true for all of us. We had to find that way. I have also learned since that location matters. Like it plays a little bit of an impact on like how you find your jobs. So I'm in Austin, Texas, which has it's obviously a little tech driven city, but it's not as tech driven as, let's say, California, right? The Bay Area. The Bay Area has a lot more companies, and you're not aware of all the companies that exist. But if you live in the Bay Area, you would have come across them, you would have seen them, and then yeah, that's how you can apply to them and everything. So yeah, I think location plays a little bit of a factor in this.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably it's like a holistic kind of thing. Everything
Yeah.
matters a little bit at least, like a
Yeah.
CGPA. Everything has a
Exactly.
little bit of a
Yeah.
credit, and then you get
Agree.
the overall CGPA of your resume, your personality, and that's how you get
Yeah,
whatever you get.
I
Sure, sure.
agree.
So, Rujula, coming to the very last question now. So, do you have any pro tips for the aspirant who are planning to study abroad, like next year or this year? Anything, any specific thing? Like, I think one advice you gave is maybe not to get a unfurnished apartment in a indirect way. Anything else apart from that you would like to emphasize on?
Yeah, I think staying organized is very important when you're applying, like keeping track of every application and do not miss out. Like, you wouldn't want to get a rejection because you messed up something small, which is so important. So, being organized during your application process, having done your GRE TOEFL enough time before so that you have enough time to fill out the application and write your SOP draft beforehand so you can reiterate and like fix all the things. Yeah, so I think that's one of the main things. And honestly, hang on. Like, even during the visa process, hold on. You can do it. Like, it'll happen. You have to just be very patient. And yeah, I think university experience is, it's a very great experience, and I recommend everybody has it. It's like living on your own, doing new things in a new country, and yeah, you'll get a lot of calls from your parents and a lot of love. Like, you wouldn't have spoken much in your own house, but then you'll get calls all the time from your parents, which is also great. So yeah, I mean, you will get a little homesick, but it's worth it. Yeah, that's what I want to
There
say.
is a lot of upgradation in the personality overall, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's an overall growth. It's not just academic growth. Yeah.
Okay, Rujula, thank you very much. Your knowledge and insights were very useful, and I think our audience will also get a lot of help from this talk, and maybe some of them might contact you through LinkedIn or somewhere else. So feel free to accept or reject them, just like you were accepted and rejected at places. So
Mm,
thank you very much for your time.
yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.